Oh, well, greetings there, fellow repairers of Land Rovers and a great deal many other things I'm sure of. This is my little video about how I changed the bearing shells on my Range Rover Sport L494. It's divided into sections, so if you want to skip through, feel free. I'm going to start off slowly because I initially was very nervous about this. So I did do a bit of Plastigauge on the existing bearings and surprising results there. And then to kind of end it off with one of the shells. So it's a longer, slower paced video, but it contains details. Okay, I'm going to attempt Plastigauge on this existing bearing shell. I know I haven't cleaned out the top part, but I'm just intrigued. There is some sign of wear on the bearing shell. I'm feeling very out of my depth here and quite worried. I'm going to cock my engine up, but there you go. I shouldn't have got to this stage if I didn't want to have a look, which I've done, and I can see that there is wear, and I can see where the bearing chips probably come from. So I'm just going to have to take a very deep breath and try and do this. Very nervous. So I'd say from my single eye perspective it's about 0.063. That's bigger than 0.076, and it's definitely a lot narrower than 0.050. So we'll just check those against what tolerances should be. Pretty much on board with 0.063. Okay, I'm moving on to cylinder 5 now. I've done 2 and established what I think about it, which is fine. So now I have to move on to number 5, just so that we can work out what's going on here. These caps are banded, so there's a white band on the side that it belongs to, that's where it's split, so you don't actually need to know whether they go to front or back, which I did on the other one, but I was doing that to be super cautious. But this is how they match up, and you know you've got them around the right way. It's come off on the wrong side. I'm not enjoying Plastigauge. When they watch it on that LR time, they get it right, but I seem to be doing it wrong. I'm pretty sure this is the same as the other side really. It's maybe a little bit tighter. It's between 0.63 and 0.5 just on this block. And oh shit, I don't even know if that bulb's going all the way. Ow. So now done my testing, I'm going to temporarily put this all back together for a little bit so I can go and have a think. Okay, I'm just doing my little bit of bearing prep, which is what I've watched other channels doing. So I've got a very sort of gentle scouring pad. I'm just removing the coating from the back of these. I'll show you another one in a sec, which is brand new with nothing removed. So start by doing this. It just comes up nice and shiny. There's another one here. So start off sort of dull. You don't want to remove it from the inside apparently, so I'm just, like I said, copying others who've been before me, other intrepid explorers who've placed such things in the past, and that's what you get once you've given it a good polish. And it's well, it's not really polishing, it's scuffing it up so that it's going to have a nice tight fit when it goes in, because these are interference fit and they crush in, so you want it really nice and, you know, metal to metal contact. I'm going to clean these up with brake cleaner as well, just make sure that they've got no grease on them and that they're all ready before I start putting them into anything, and just keep them somewhere safe. Okay, so this is the bottom shell on cylinder number 5, and I'm just doing the Scotch-Brite thing on this, cleaning it up and getting it going, so that we're ready to put it back in. So this just makes sure that we've got a nice, you know, decent surface ready to put the new shell into. Okay, I'm on cylinder number 5 here. I'm not sure how much talking I'm going to do, but I've done number 2 as my prototype. So I'm just having a go at this one now. So I don't know how easy this is going to be to see, but you kind of like it's sort of pushed up the Conrod on the other side, and then once you've got enough clearance, you can pull it across and get to the bearing. That's a bit fun. Obviously being careful not to get the cylinder out of whack with itself. Obviously being careful not to scratch anything. Right, and once it's pushed up, you can then pull it back down a bit to get a bit better access. Obviously making sure it doesn't come too far, because obviously you don't want it to fall out. And then once you've got it down and you've got access to the shell, you can pull it out
So this is another nicely damaged shell, and just making me very stressed in this, but there you go, I'm the idiot that takes on the job. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to prep up the bottom shell, and then I'm going to come back and clean this all out with a Scotch pad and make sure it's a lot better, and prepare the bearing shell for the top. So it's definitely the top ones that have really taken a beating, and that's where you can see that the coating has come off, and that is the particles that we're finding in our filter. The actual crankshaft itself is not showing signs of like being really badly worn, but personally I'm not going to do any polishing or anything on this. I'm just going to clean it up so I've got a way to put everything back together. Basically just pushing this back up until I can get it to rotate over the top of the crank, and then get this back on and pushed or pulled down into position. Okay, so I've got my lyre shell here, it's already set up. I've got some ATF just on the bottom of it so the Plastigauge doesn't stick. Otherwise I was finding that you can't get a consistent blob because it was sticking all the time. And we're going to reuse the old bolts just to do the Plastigauge check. Make sure that they've got some oil on them under the head and on the thread. Make sure that you align the banded side with the banded side. So on this one, it's on this side. And what I try and do is, once I've got it in, make sure the gaps are kind of similar, and then just kind of very gently tighten them up together, close up the gap. So taut to 20. And we're going to go 90 degrees with a breaker bar. So this is bigger than 0.063 and it is smaller than 0.50, so it's kind of in the middle somewhere. I don't know, 0.51 or 52 or something. So that's well within spec. So that's great. So we're good on those. I'm not going to take anything out now. I'm going to just clean this up, and now I'm just going to clean this up, and I'm going to put it on with some new bolts and torque it, and that's it. That one's done. So then that means I've done two. It's very slow, but probably better to be slow than to rush. Get it wrong. Because this is just wax. Right, make sure that you've got your line on the right side again, so on this side, on that side. So you got it around the right way, because these are split Conrods, which means they're fractured, and so they exactly mate. So if you put them around back to front, you're going to get a problem. Doing this wrong. This 100%. And very gently put these on. Oh, that's a good point. And put any assembly lube on. Don't forget the assembly lube. Okay. Assembly lube. I've got this red assembly lube stuff. I don't know if it's good or not, but I just it's a bit easier than trying to brush gear oil on the top for me, because I'm working from underneath. So I'm gonna just ignore the cheap way and do it more expensive. It just costs more money to buy assembly lube than to use gear oil, that's all. And then we do 90 on angle just to finish them off. It's easier to do the 90 when you've got new bolts, because they then stretch in and fits nicely. Just my own sanity, I'm just going to mark them so I've done them. Right, and then I guess you keep going until you've done them all.